Women and Inner Power, the Transformation of Self-Esteem Through Jung's Archetypes.
Have you ever felt like something inside you wants to break free but you don't know where to start? In this video, we'll explore the powerful combination of Carl Jung's archetypes, breakthroughs in neuroscience, and the principles of evolutionary psychology to show how they can transform your self-esteem and awaken the inner power that has always been there. Discover how your brain responds to emotional experiences, how to integrate your shadows, and how to recognize your hidden strengths to rebuild deep and lasting confidence. If you're ready for a profound journey of self-discovery, empowerment, and personal growth, this video is your first step toward true transformation. Don't miss it. Have you ever felt like there's a dormant version of yourself waiting to be revealed? As if a force inside you were begging for space, for voice, for freedom, yet you didn't know where to begin? That feeling is not a mistake. It's the calling, an inner whisper of something that has always been there but was buried under layers of expectations, frustration, silence, and fear. Carl Jung once said, "What you deny controls you. What you accept transforms you." And maybe, for the first time, you're ready to accept not what others expect from you, but who you truly are within. Most of us live in a silent war with our own identity. We carry social masks, family roles, invisible pressures. We are trained to please, to obey, to put others first. But what about our inner world? What about the woman who was never allowed to exist? Jung would call this the repression of the shadow, the part of us that holds everything forbidden, rejected, or judged. Not only our negative impulses, but also our strength, sensuality, creativity, and ambition. The problem is that when this shadow goes unrecognized, it finds ways to surface, sabotaging relationships, trapping us in patterns of self-doubt, or feeding a constant emptiness that nothing seems to fill. Science now confirms what Jung sensed. Decades ago, the brain stores emotional traumas and experiences of humiliation as if they were real dangers, triggering defense mechanisms that keep us on constant alert. We live in survival mode, and in that state, it's impossible to build true self-esteem, because self-esteem doesn't come from repeating positive affirmations in the mirror, but from reconnecting with our deepest truth. And that begins when we stop hiding from ourselves, when we find the courage to look inward, even if it confronts us, even if it hurts. Nietzsche, with his unflinching courage, once wrote, "Become who you are." And while this phrase may sound poetic, it carries an almost violent urgency, because becoming who we truly are requires breaking away from what we've been taught to be. It demands navigating the discomfort of transformation. Yet it is within this chaos that the seed of inner power begins to grow. And this is not an aggressive or authoritarian power. It is a quiet, centered, unshakable power, a kind of confidence that doesn't rely on external validation because it comes from aligning with what you truly feel, desire, and choose. You might ask yourself, how could I deny something so essential? But the truth is, this denial happens almost automatically as a survival mechanism. We live in societies that expect women to be docile, compliant, and not intimidating in their power or authenticity. As a result, the shadow is pushed to the depths of the unconscious, while the persona, the social mask, is polished to please and be accepted. This internal split creates a profound conflict, a constant struggle between the desire to be whole and the need to hide parts of oneself. This process can lead to a kind of internal sabotage, where a woman questions her own right to exist fully. It's as if, on some level, she believes her strength is dangerous, that being powerful would make her rejected or isolated. Jung said this conflict is one of the major battles an individual faces on the path to individuation, the journey to becoming a complete authentic self. Integrating the shadow is the gateway to this transformation. Another important voice in understanding this inner struggle is Simone de Beauvoir, who highlighted the limitations imposed on women by patriarchal culture, famously stating, "One is not born, but rather becomes, a woman." This social construct often forces women to renounce their natural strengths to fit into a narrow, restrictive mold. By recognizing this perspective, we can begin to identify the conditioning that blocks the expression of our inner power, realizing that denying this power is not a choice, but an imposition. Awakening to this reality can be shocking, even infuriating. After all, acknowledging that a vital part of ourselves was denied in order to conform to external standards triggers an identity crisis. But it is precisely this shock that opens space for change. By identifying the archetypes that influence us and the shadow we carry, we start to question the limiting beliefs that keep us trapped. Questions like, who am I beyond these masks? And what repressed strengths can help me grow? Emerge with force. This process demands courage and honesty, because facing the rejected parts of yourself is not easy. Yet Jung reminds us that the shadow is not only darkness, it also holds talents, creative energy, and power waiting to be revealed. This reunion begins to dissolve the internal split, allowing a woman to reclaim her original, whole, and undeniable strength. This journey is not linear and can bring moments of doubt and conflict. But it is precisely in these stages that true transformation occurs, because it is from the struggle between light and shadow that authenticity is born. And it is this authenticity that paves the way for solid self-esteem, one that does not depend on external approval, but on deep reconciliation with oneself. What happens inside your brain when you repress your emotions? When you suppress that desire to be, to scream, to exist fully? Contemporary neuroscience shows that the human brain is shaped not only by genes, but above all by lived experiences, especially emotional ones. Every rejection, every criticism, every moment you felt inadequate leaves a deep mark on neural connections, shaping the way you perceive yourself and the world around you. Emotional traumas, even those silent and accumulated over time, activate alert systems in the brain, such as the amygdala, acting like a sentinel, ready to protect you from threats, real or perceived. This hyperactivity can lead to a constant state of vigilance, anxiety, and fear of exposure. To survive, your brain learns to silence parts of you, hiding pains that would be unbearable if fully felt. But this defense mechanism, necessary as it once was, carries harsh consequences. It fragments your identity. You begin to feel divided, disconnected from your deepest desires and genuine emotions. Self-esteem, which depends on authentic contact with yourself, becomes compromised. It's as if an inner voice, once vibrant and confident, has been muted by the need for protection and adaptation. It's important to remember that this is not your fault. It is a natural response of an organism striving to survive. The body and brain work together to keep you alive, even when the world felt too hostile for your vulnerability. Neuroscience offers a compassionate and liberating perspective. You are not broken. You were shaped to survive. Acknowledging this is the first step toward healing, because if your brain learned to stay silent to protect you, it also has the capacity to reprogram itself. Neuroplasticity, the brain's incredible ability to form new connections and strengthen healthy pathways, allows you to reconnect with parts of yourself that were disconnected. With time and the right practices, it is possible to reverse the effects of trauma and rebuild a strong self-esteem rooted in your inner truth. This journey of reconnection requires patience and kindness toward yourself. It will not always be easy to feel what has been hidden for so long. Sometimes the pain may feel overwhelming. Yet every step in this direction strengthens your sense of identity and your power to choose who you want to be, beyond the marks of the past. By understanding the impact of trauma on the brain, we stop blaming ourselves for feeling fear, insecurity, or doubt. These emotions are natural responses to experiences that challenged your capacity to cope. And it is precisely by embracing this vulnerability that you discover true strength, the kind born from acceptance and self-love. The next step in this transformation is to integrate these emotional and neurological insights with a deeper understanding of who you are. This leads to the next phase, reconnecting with the inner woman who, despite the wounds, has never ceased to exist. It's time to look inward with kindness, not to judge or condemn, but to acknowledge every fragment of yourself that was left behind. Carl Jung taught us that the shadow is not an enemy, but an essential part of our wholeness, a part that holds both our wounds and our hidden power. Integrating the shadow means embracing everything you have rejected in yourself, from your deepest pains to repressed desires and strengths. This process is the gateway to genuine self-knowledge and the rebirth of self-esteem. Imagine that within you exists a woman who has never stopped existing, despite the voices that tried to silence her. This woman is your truest essence, free from masks and imposed expectations. She carries your passions, your truths, and your original strength. Integrating the shadow opens space for this woman to inhabit every part of your being, bringing with her an energy that transcends fear and doubt. Thanks to neuroplasticity, your brain can rewire itself. By giving attention and care to these forgotten parts, you begin to strengthen neural connections that foster confidence, balance, and self-love. Practices like meditation, self-reflection, and journaling help cultivate this internal reconnection, allowing the woman you truly are to emerge with clarity and power. At this stage, feminine archetypes also awaken more strongly. Jung identified figures such as the maiden, the mother, the crone, and the lover, each representing different aspects of the female psyche. Recognizing which archetype is most dormant or repressed can provide valuable clues about where self-esteem is weakened and how to restore your balance. For instance, the maiden, a symbol of renewal and hope, may need to be nurtured so you can feel the freshness of new beginnings. Or the crone, guardian of wisdom, may be ready to guide your decisions with confidence. This reunion with the inner woman is a delicate process that requires patience and compassion. Confronting what has been hidden is not always comfortable, but it is in this space that true transformation occurs. You begin to realize that you no longer need to carry the weight of external expectations alone. It is possible to be whole, with all your shadows and lights, and still be loved and respected, first and foremost by yourself. As this reconnection deepens, self-esteem ceases to be a distant concept and becomes a living, tangible experience. You feel the strength that comes from acknowledging and accepting every part of yourself, even the imperfect ones. It is a quiet yet powerful rebirth, a return home to the safest and most authentic space that exists, yourself. After walking the path of self-discovery, facing your shadow, and reconnecting deeply with your essence, something powerful begins to emerge. The woman you have always been, but who was asleep, now awakens with an authentic and radiant strength. This strength no longer depends on external approval because it is born from recognizing yourself in your wholeness, with all your light, shadows, achievements, and challenges. This woman knows that her self-esteem is a fertile ground that nourishes her inner power, and for that power to flourish in her daily life, 3 pieces of advice can guide her journey. 1. Cultivate self-awareness every day. Take time to listen to your inner voice, observe your feelings without judgment, and acknowledge your needs. Self-awareness is the foundation for choices aligned with who you truly are, freeing you from external pressures that try to shape you. 2. Practice self-compassion. Learn to treat yourself with the same kindness you would offer a dear friend. Recognize your mistakes and limitations as natural parts of the human journey, not as flaws. Compassion strengthens self-esteem because it replaces destructive criticism with constructive acceptance. 3. Reinforce your boundaries and say no when necessary. Empowering yourself also means protecting your emotional and physical space. By setting clear boundaries, you show respect for yourself and teach others how you want to be treated. This attitude strengthens your sense of worth and self-confidence. The power that emerges is neither arrogance nor control, but conscious presence. It is the ability to stand in the world without fear, to express your ideas and desires with authenticity, and to choose paths that nourish your soul. This transformed woman understands that true power is born from inner harmony, and that harmony is built day by day with courage and perseverance. Carl Jung once said, "Joy comes from within, from the encounter with one's own being." Now that joy can be your constant companion, because you have become the author of your story, capable of turning past pain into fuel for your growth. Self-esteem is no longer an abstract concept. It has become a living force that guides your steps, inspires your dreams, and lights your path. This is the moment to celebrate the woman who is emerging, who chooses to exist fully without asking for permission. She knows she deserves respect, love, and fulfillment, not because she has something to prove, but simply because she is who she is. So, how do you feel after this journey? Which part of your story touched your heart the most? I would love to know. Share in the comments a word or phrase that represents what awakened in you today. Your experience may inspire other women who are also seeking to reconnect with themselves. If this video resonated with you, don't forget to leave a like. That helps spread this message to more people who need to hear these words. And if you haven't subscribed yet, take this opportunity to join this community of women who are awakening their inner strength every day. Remember, transformation begins when we take the first step, and you've already taken yours. Stay with me on this journey because together we are stronger. See you in the next video.